Okay, that should be better. Is that better? I think that should be better. I think I turned off the delay, so should be a bit better. Let me see. Okay, cool. Better? Awesome. Yeah, it's my first time doing this on YouTube, so bear with me. Let me just make sure I copy over the link to my students and stuff. I think I changed it, so 1 second. Okay, perfect. All right, that should be better. Awesome. Thank you, guys. Let me pull up this screen on another tab and let's go back to the conversation we were having. So like I was talking about, right, what I'm going to look for my standard deviation projections is going to be based on those higher time frame levels. And once I get those higher time frame levels, I'm going to have some buy side liquidity targets. Now, the reason why I do that is because the reason why I do that is because there's nothing to look at to the left. And because there's nothing to look at to the left, we need to use, now it says terrible display. Ugh. Yeah, I just got a notification from YouTube as well. All right, guys, you got to bear with me. It's my first time. I'll get better at this. I can see that actually. Yeah, it's the bit rate. Oh, it's okay? All right, well, don't troll me like that, because I actually don't know if the quality is good or bad. It doesn't look amazing on my screen, but that's me guys come on a monitor. Should be okay. All right, don't troll me. There's too much information going on right here. Let me focus on trading. Okay, so let's go back to the charts. What am I seeing? No delay. Awesome. Okay, cool. Should be working now. I think everything's good now. So what am I looking at? I'm looking at a distribution on the 830 news higher into this level of buy side liquidity, right? Which is going to be the previous day high. As you can see, we're keying off of these hourly imbalances. So we have this hourly BISI and this hourly inversion. And if I want to see lower prices, I would like to see us trade up into this region first before reverting against that original Asian consolidation. So I will look to get involved if an entry presents itself. Honestly, like right now would be a good entry. It would have been a better entry on this inversion per value, but I was yapping. So I'm going to look to get involved into the distribution to buy side for news, just because I like to trade generally if I'm given a setup before news. And then we can see what happens, if we want to continue expanding or we want to revert back to this original consolidation in the London lows, right? London Asian lows. I can see the possibility for price trading like this, right? That would make sense. And the reason why that would make sense is because the draw on dollar is going to be higher into buy side liquidity objectives. Mikey, yeah, you trolled the whole chat. Right, so what I want to look for in here to see is if this breaker is going to support price higher in the market. We have an overlapping fair value gap with that breaker. So what I can do is I can look to get involved in this area of price, right, before the news distribution. And again, what I'm expecting or anticipating, hopefully, the distribution into these highs on the news, and then we can look for what will happen thereafter. So yeah, draw on liquidity for me is still going to be bullish. There's no reason to fade the bullish draw as of yet. We have nice equal highs for London here. We do have an SMT divergence, I believe. Actually, we don't. We have equal highs here, relative equals. But we do have an SMT divergence, obviously, on the higher time frame with the ES and the NASDAQ right at those highs. So we'll see. I still don't want to be bearish yet until we get a change in the state of delivery on the higher time frames. I'm interested in seeing this buy side delivered with maybe an SMT forming at these highs, something like this. Right, if I can see something like this forming, then I'd be interested in trading back into the range. But for now, the objective is going to be higher, and I want us to key off of this hourly level for the news distribution. What does that look like on my dollar, right? Yeah, I still have a bullish draw for the dollar. I want to see buy side liquidity traded into in the dollar as well. But the correlation between the dollar and the Nasdaq hasn't been like always 1-to-1. So I'm not necessarily worried about an immediate bullish draw. We could easily see dollar come back into this low. It could sweep some lower time frame liquidity first, which would be all we need, right? Even trading below these London lows, which would be all we need for us to get that bullish distribution here on news into this high. So once we get that bullish distribution into the high, I'll evaluate into equities open and also into the day if the thesis is changing. But yeah, just not looking to call any tops yet. And allowing the order flow, right? The PD arrays I'm seeing on these higher time frames to do their job, right? So if I'm seeing respective bullish arrays, for example, we're getting candle body closures above the mean threshold, or the consequent encroachment rather, of this fair value gap. We have this inversion, right? We come back in, and this candle trades into this order block right here, right? The overlapping area of this wick, right? And this inefficiency, this order block right here. So yeah, we're gonna allow and see if these higher time frame arrays are gonna be holding, and we're gonna keep trading alongside that higher time frame thesis. Similar to yesterday, right? Yesterday I actually got chopped up in the morning though. When I was trading with my students, I got chopped up kind of in this range here. And then eventually we had a large trend expansion day. I'm hoping that today is just a continuation of that order flow. And what I'm using, right, as a key level is going to be this higher time frame imbalance and then this SMT, right? So you can see that we traded below here. And we put in a swing failure on the Nasdaq, so it's a higher low, right, inside of this array. So on a lower time frame chart, you can more easily see that. It's the SMT at these Asian lows, where ES creates a lower low in London, and Nasdaq creates a higher low. Likewise, there's a comparative story in the YM. I haven't been using the YM as much for intramarket analysis because the ES and the Nasdaq have been moving a little bit more closely, like correlated wise, but there's also that argument. So in here we have this, let's zoom in here to price. Oops, I got rid of that. Just keep a clean level. It's this hourly gap, right? So yeah, we're just gonna watch on news distributes. We want to see if it trades higher first, or if we get that distribution lower on news first. PhD for 5 years. We're gonna trade together. Yeah, I trade every day with my Discord, but this is awesome. Yeah, I've never really done a YouTube live before. It's a lot of it's pretty distracting, but it's pretty cool actually to be able to interact with so many people. So it's awesome, yeah. So what am I looking for in the lower time frames to support this thesis, right? What we saw is that we had this displacement on the 5 minute outside of this gap, right? So what we're looking for to see is if we can get a continuation of this shorter time frame bullish order flow. And in the same regard, like I used standard deviation projections before, I can use this SMT, right, as a key level because it's inside of an hourly and 4 hour gap. And I can monitor, right, these projections. Something like that. And again, I'm looking to see if price can trade into yesterday's high, potentially even up to this higher time frame objective I have, and then reverse against this sell side liquidity. But I would be uninterested in trading any shorts until I see a meaningful run against the buy stops. So in the ES, you can see we have some relative equal highs. There, and of course we have yesterday's previous day high. So I'm gonna want to see if price can run against these buy stops first, right? Form any sort of local SMT, and then we'll look for what's next, kind of. Will you be switching hats today? Falcon knows about it. Mitch knows. No, today I do not have my hats. I will. I'll tell you what I'm seeing. As you guys know, a lot of people here are probably coming from my Discord or my students, and they know I don't like giving signals, quote unquote. I don't think that's a conducive way to learn. But I will tell you everything I see on the chart, and most times you'll know exactly what trade I'm in based on what I'm talking about. How long have you been trading for? I've been trading for about 3 years. ICT concepts for just over 2 years now. Yeah, I started the retail side of things, kind of dabbled with a lot of things that weren't as helpful for me. Learned a lot of bad habits through that, and then kind of, yeah, eventually found ICT and then went all in on that. It's been a long journey, actually. It's gone by quick though. You know, lots of ups and downs. That's the main part of trading, right? Is eventually you have to become accepting of the natural variance and the expected value, meaning you have to get used to losses. And it's a lot of training your mind just as much as it is training your technical edge, right? And I think experience is probably the best teacher in that regard. But also collecting data, right? So a lot of my students know like journaling and stuff like that has been really pivotal in kind of that 2 years. The biggest changes have come from actually looking at my processes more than my outcomes. Like focusing on those systems and good habits really lead to the best results. How far through ICT did you go? I did everything that ICT has on YouTube and his private stuff that's been released, I've done it all. How long to become profitable? Probably just over 2 years in total of trading and about 16 months of ICT studying. Can you please go over the generator for what you're looking for? Yeah, so what I'm looking for, like I said, right, is I'm looking for these hourly bullish PD rates to support price higher into this buy side liquidity draw. I want to see SMT at these highs if we are to reverse against the consolidated lows of Asia and London. So I'd be looking for distribution higher first, maybe some SMT, and then lower. And the reason why I have these levels on my chart here is because we have no liquidity objectives to the left. So looking this way on the chart, there's not much to actually utilize as imbalance or inefficiency. So I went through at the beginning of the stream my protocol for anchoring standard deviations, which I'll quickly review again, which is going to be higher time frame, internal range of liquidity. So this is a weekly or daily FVG. Then I wait for SMT inside the IRL, and then I anchor on the intermediate time frame that last manipulation leg. So for the weekly, I look at the 4 hour. And for the daily, I look at the 1 hour. And you can see this is a weekly internal range liquidity, right? SMT, so this is a 4 hour projection, and this is a daily internal range liquidity, this is a daily internal range liquidity, SMT. I anchor on the 1 hour, and this is a weekly internal range liquidity down here. I anchor on the 4 hour. And I talked about that a bit at the beginning, and it's how I utilize standard deviations when trading at all-time highs. But just because there's not as many liquidity targets, or there is no liquidity targets to the left-hand side of the chart. How do I interpret dealing ranges? Yeah, so I utilize the concept of premium discount when I see obvious smart money reversals in the market and I know that the market is now offering fair value and no longer seeking liquidity. So when the market is seeking liquidity, I don't need to see premium discount be retraced, for example, in this case. I don't need to see price come back into below 50% of this range while it's offering liquidity higher. When price now reverts back to distributing down to fair value, so inefficiency, I will then use a concept of premium discount for choosing specific arrays of interest or liquidity targets. Generally speaking, like yesterday, if you look for example, when the market is offering buy-side liquidity, in this case, right, so we're spooling higher, the idea of premium and discount doesn't have to necessarily be an integral part of your trading plan because the market is referring to these breakers at best, right, for expansion. So there's two types of trading, or two types of expansion. There's classic support and resistance type expansion where there's large retracements, right? Where price comes back into these order blocks, premium arrays, like OTE area, right? And then there's types of expansion that look more like this, where price barely pulls back and it pulls back into these breakers in the market. And the reason why I utilize these two kind of types of dealing ranges because when price is offering liquidity, it tends to expand and it may not necessarily retrace back into that discount or premium range. However, once we get a smart money reversal, like we do down here maybe, right? Now from here, we want to be looking at what is premium in this range if price, right, is offering fair value and not offering liquidity. So as you can see, price comes back into what? This imbalance, right? In premium, then distributes lower, offers liquidity inside this imbalance, and now it trades higher, disrespecting this imbalance, which gives me a sign of institutional order flow being bullish. Now we've disrespected this inversion fair value gap on the hourly as well. Another indication of bullish order flow, right? Along with market structure shift. And then what we want to look for on the lower time frames, right, is how we are respecting or disrespecting down close candles. So in this case, as you can see, as we form down close candles, they're offered as support, meaning they're offered as order blocks higher. And now we want to see if that same idea and thesis can hold as a distribution to buy side. So we're looking for bullish order flow out of this array of interest, right? So that's how I'm going to use the premium discount concepts. How many ICT vids a day were you going through them? I was a little bit excessive with the way I studied, which is why I teach these days, because I don't think I did it the best way. I think I did it a way that was, like I said, a little bit excessive. I was watching, 10 to 12 hours of ICT a day. And I don't think I spent the right time focusing on the right things necessarily, Greg. I was kind of just like, I need to learn everything. And I didn't have a lot of focus in what I was studying. I just tried to learn everything. These days, my approach to teaching is much more refined into a couple of core concepts and ideas, and then simplification of those things in order to create kind of a robust trading model. You don't need to be a jack of all trades. Really, you need to be a master of a few specific concepts and understanding narrative over patterns and the draw on liquidity. And once you understand the draw on liquidity, right, it's the majority of the battle is done for you, because that's narrative-based trading. It's why price wants to expand, when it's going to expand, and where it's going to expand to. The most efficient way to learn it, I would say I have a lot on my YouTube. In my Discord, I have about 40, 50 hours of lessons as well. So I'd say there's a lot of stuff that I've done, but also it's all for free as well, right? Like you can learn for free online, but if you want to streamline, obviously I suggest finding someone who you resonate with, someone whose trading style you want to be more like, and then try and consume as much content as they put out. Find someone who you really resonate with. I struggled to do that for a long time, and then I found a few mentors, and then I kind of built on some concepts myself, and yeah, once I focused my energy on a certain few things, then it really changed a lot. So as you can see, I won't tell you where my entry is, but I'm going to trade, right, into this buy-side liquidity like we talked about. And looking for here. I'll share my executions and everything after the video or after the stream. I just don't like the idea of giving signals. We will talk through everything. We'll talk through everything I see on the chart. I want you guys to learn. That's why you're here. If you want signals, then it's not going to be that. It's not going to be that place. How long did it take you to learn? Probably around 2 years. Yeah, probably just over 2 years. So what I'll be looking for is partialing above this high and then this high as well, if I get the distribution on news. So right now I have limit orders as sell limits at my liquidity targets. So yeah, just managing the trade a little bit while we talk. We can keep talking, no worries. I'm also looking for key levels of SMT, right, in the market. I'm just gonna set up those limits quickly, and then we can go back to talking. Again, price could easily come back down, stop me out, whatever. I generally aim for 2R trades as well. Okay. This little snake I'm gonna trade as well, yeah. Yeah, I mean, you guys will, like, just like my students, premium members know, they'll always see everything that I'm looking at, and then it just takes a little bit of deduction to say, I wonder when a fees is getting in based on the trading model I teach, right? I trade the same way every day. Hourly PD array, 5-minute change in steady delivery, daily candle direction, right? And we talked about the expectation to see higher prices, potentially into an SMT, and then a reversion of the range, potentially back into these lows. But in the moment, as you guys know, I trade with the higher time frame order flow, so I won't partake in shorts until I get a structural confirmation. What I'll do is I'll continue to trade long. Not try to catch reversals, but instead try and just play the distributions higher. How do you manage your PA accounts? Really good question. What I tend to do is I tend to trade them 5 to 10 at a time. I try not to take 20 at a time, just generally speaking. I feel like my psychology got worse with 20 PAs grouping, but definitely like 5 to 10 at a time is how I treat them. So I want to see how we interact with this down close candle on before the news, and also I'm gonna hop up a time frame and see if I have any 50-minute areas of interest. No, it's a little more clear on the 5-minute, I think. Okay, so here's my breaker block. Just gonna be watching order flow, right? I want to see if first of all, we're respecting down close candles, but also if we're being offered support by up close candles on the other side of the curve, right? So this is going to be the inversion of bearish arrays and institutional sponsorship and reaccumulation inside of old selling. So a breaker block is an area of old selling, which may become new buying. Now we'll have to see, right? It's a news distribution play. I'm trading before news. So like anything, this can fail, and it's far more speculative than structure aligned trading. It's my bread and butter. I really do like to trade news distributions. Hi, can you make $50 back for the monthly payment for the Discord group? The reason why we increased the price actually is because I started to do a lot more one-on-one. I'm starting to do more live lessons and uploading more of my mentorship recordings, and also just spending more time every month. So like every month I'm spending, at least 2 hours a day with my premium group. So I really genuinely think the price is well worth it, but obviously there's lots of free stuff out there as well. I'll do stuff like this on YouTube for free. There's tons of free stuff out there, but yeah, it's a place to learn, and I think the people in my group will say it's fairly priced, but maybe we'll offer a discount code in the future. Yeah, we'll see. Just message me about it after, and if you have some sort of financial situation, just message me as well. Okay, what else? How do you know if news will be bearish or bullish? I just use structure, my friend. Yeah, what I do is I utilize market structure and I trade with the trend. And the general caveat, right, for that statement is if we manipulate before 8:30, I anticipate 8:30 to form a distribution. And if we do not manipulate before 8:30, I anticipate 8:30 to form the manipulation and distribution, right? So if there's multiple news folders, for example, there's a folder at 8:30, there's a folder at 10, I might see 8:30 manipulate and then 10 a.m. distribute. Seeing that we've manipulated into a key level of interest before the news, right, I am expecting a distribution higher. Now, the only red flag, quote unquote, here is that I don't see a significant SMT divergence at these lows, right? So price may want to come in and form a wick and then move higher, which I'm also prepared for, right? We'll see. But I would prefer to see an immediate distribution to the buy side, and then yeah, on news days I like to just take my distribution trade if I can get it, and then move on. So we'll see what happens. Indicator on the side of my screen. I use higher time frame candles by Foddy, and I also on the higher time frame charts I use the higher time frame power of 3 by the 2 degrees team. Mostly the only indicators I use are those. So we have 15 seconds left on the news. Let's see what happens, right? Let's see if we can distribute into our liquidity targets or if we want to manipulate lower first. Okay, so I got filled on my first TP right there above the market price, and I have now break even to my stop. And if we do not reach up into the second target, I will get stopped out at my break even. Yeah, it's a really quick type of trading for news distributions, obviously, but it's my preferred way of trading just because I trust the draw on liquidity, right? Insofar as insofar as my technical analysis aligns with my higher time frame objectives, I don't necessarily mind getting involved in the news before its distribution. It's something I very commonly do, and I don't recommend it to my newer students. So like I teach, and for my newer students, I generally say to observe price action on days like this, and then gain trust in your edge and your model. And then with time, you'll have the confidence to be able to enter on a news distribution like this, right? Yeah, I like that. News is just an excuse for price to go where it wants to. And there is volatility, and I do allow for wicks, right? So this style of trading specifically for news distribution is not for everyone, but I mean, you can see here how it's all planned, right? Like there's very little gambling involved. It's only if I get a certain set of conditions that I will enter the trade. And yeah, have I passed my evals this way? This is generally a large part of my trading, actually. I like to trade news distributions, yeah. And if you guys have seen my execution, maybe on Twitter, if anyone here's in my premium group, they'll know, like, yeah, I really do enjoy trading these distributions, but Obviously, right, you have to trade regular trades as well. You can't just like, full port news all the time, especially when you're trying to manage and scale equity. But if you have a good setup, yeah, absolutely. So I got filled. I'm looking at my Discord. A whole bunch of us took that trade. Nice. Well done, Rob. Well done, Yusuf. So I got filled on one of my contracts, and I got stopped out at break even on the other one of them, just because it didn't hit this TP up here. So as you can see, we put in a swing failure to these highs, which is completely okay, right? So that's what we're talking about, the idea of running out these highs, forming some sort of divergence at the previous day high. So I'm still interested in higher prices. I just had my limit set as a bracket. So yeah, stopped out at like in profits in the second contract, and then TP here on the first contract. Yusuf, you took that trade as well? Yeah. I'm still interested to see how price trades here. But right now you can see we just kind of have a doji on this candle, and it's nice to sometimes just take your trade and be done, right? So right there I made 2R, 5 seconds. Yeah, I can show our stop loss. Yeah, my position looks something like this. So I entered, we had this change in state of delivery right here. Let me annotate my chart for you. So here was our chain of state of delivery on the 5-minute. Right when the stream started, you saw me notice that this chain of state of delivery, right out of this higher time frame array, was signifying higher prices. So what I did was I put a limit order at this down close candle, right? So it would look like that. And then what I do is I would target this buy side and put my stop loss below this swing low. And if it wicks me out on news the other way, it's because news had not manipulated and my thesis was wrong. And if it distributes right away, that means my thesis for news is correct. So it's a good risk reward trade. And again, right, just like we talked about, the idea of potentially reverting against some of this low resistance liquidity after is a nice trade idea as well, right? But for me, I trade with the structure aligned opportunity, which is going to be long because of the higher time frame order flow, right? We had this inefficiency, but it is very nice to see that sell side delivery as well off of this level, right? Like we talked about, potentially coming back in, reaching down into these Asian lows, potentially forming another form of SMT down here, and then maybe trading up back into this day because now we have a failure swing in the market. But the trade I take is going to be aligned with my higher time frame order flow. So my higher time frame PD arrays, fair value gaps, order blocks, stuff like that. And then the risk to reward is going to be adjusted, right, based on the invalidation of where this PD array is. So for me, seeing this change in state of delivery means that we've manipulated and now expanded. So if I look at a power of 3, we had an open, low, and I'm anticipating a high and a close. Now this close could be all the way down here like it is now, but I'm still not anticipating this low to be liquidated before the draw on liquidity is liquidated. So this is a open, right, low, high, and then I'm trading from this low to wherever that high is. And then as you can see, the candle is going to close in some location. Now it might close internal to the range, or it might expand and close lower. We don't know yet. But right now the order flow on the higher time frame is still bullish, right? We have this inefficiency on the hourly. So for me, I won't trade short. It's just against my trading model. I need to see the higher time frame order flow support my thesis. But yeah, that's kind of where I put my stop loss. I try and look for the clear invalidation of the open, low, high close idea, or if I'm bearish, the open, high, low close. So this manipulation in here, if I see it, right, I'll take a trade. In this case, I saw the manipulation here, and I wanted to trade the expansive part of the next distribution off of news. And news just acts, as someone said, as the catalyst, right, for bringing price to where it wants to go into. Now, unfortunately today, right, I come very close to my second TP, but I don't get it. So, right, I only get filled on one contract, and the rest of the contract, or I only get filled on 1/3 of my contracts rather, and then 2/3 of my contracts, which I'm leaving till up here, get stopped out in profits here, right? I trail my stop loss just above my entry. So that's a part of the game, right? It happens because it happens so quickly as well. The distribution happens within, a couple minutes, right? At best, sometimes it happens within seconds. And there's 3 folders which I will not do this for. And obviously those are going to be CPI, FOMC, and NFP. So for these big 3, what I call them the big 3, you don't want to hold a position going in because the wick can actually slip you and liquidate you for far more than your stop loss. Now, generally speaking, if it's not one of these big 3 folders, I have no problem entering before news. But if there is one of these big 3 folders, I won't anticipate Even if I can anticipate the price move, I won't participate. I won't get involved. Filled in profit. Well done, Cassandra. Yeah. Yeah, those equal highs are going to be nice. Yeah, exactly. I'm just going to keep monitoring price now, moving into New York session. I've taken, a profitable trade in the day, and I'll keep watching, right? I am interested to see if we leave a divergence at this previous day high, because we've left a failure swing now in the market, right? This is a swing failure. I really ideally, we're best case scenario, I would have been filled here, and I would have hopped off the stream and been done for the day, because who doesn't love finishing their trading within, 10, 15 minutes of, the folder, but whatever. Well, I'll stay on the stream because we're doing the live today, and also there might be some questions. Let me see more questions. You only trade PM session because of school? I have a couple students like that, actually. I have a couple students who are in Europe, one in Germany who works, and one in the UK who's a bit older, but he also works. And yeah, school and work definitely get in the way of trading, and you have to find a way to manage both life and trading. And especially while you're learning and developing, it's very important that trading doesn't supersede all the other priorities in your life, right? Trading is just a component that you do simultaneously to get that freedom in your life that you want. And yeah, sometimes you have to trade the PM session, absolutely. Bro, your videos will make me profitable. Daily protraction videos. Yeah, absolutely. And I have lots. I have lots on my Twitter, lots on my YouTube. And if you want to check out my Discord, I have like 40 hours of my lectures in there covering kind of the main core concepts I use, from intraday profiling and protraction to market maker model fundamentals, right? Intraday bias, power of three concepts. It's everything I use on a day-to-day basis. I also taught and provided to my students in there. How do you form narrative for the next day? Yeah, so I will always refer back to my higher time frame charts. Great question. So just like today in the morning, I started on my daily chart and I said, okay, well, there is no daily key level in here simply because we are in an expansion of the weekly candle at the moment, potentially, right? This could be expansion of the weekly candle. We don't assume it might revert against all of this. So there's no daily key level. So I have to utilize my higher time frame targets and my lower time frame structure. So in this case, I had a 4-hour internal range of liquidity in here, which I can mark out. That's going to frame a 15-minute market maker buy model, right? So now the trade idea can become as simple as 4-hour internal to 4-hour external, right? In the case of me, what I did was I also refined that down to my session by saying off of this 4-hour fair value gap, which you just saw, right? So 4-hour internal to 4-hour external. I also have a new hourly PD array and set of structure printed here. So I form this hourly SMT. I create this hourly imbalance, and more importantly, I disrespect this hourly inversion. I'll keep this on the chart so we can keep looking at it. Okay, this was the thesis for higher prices for me, okay? Now, because I've refined my 4-hour level to a new fractal, this 1-hour imbalance, I'm now looking for a 5-minute, right, market maker model. Simply from this low to that high is the first TP, which maps very nicely, as you can see, to my standard deviation projection of this manipulation leg like we talked about, but also to that high. That's going to be a target because it's a swing failure to these highs, right? All of this are swing failures in the market. This to this to this. And you can see we actually said that it's very possible news will distribute into this high and then trade lower. We're okay with that. What I prefer to do is trade alongside the structure, right? And in this case, I don't like trading against, right, the bullish order flow if I have an opportunity to target liquidity in alignment with the structure. Brother, I do swing trading, but spreads hit my stop loss, so 1R becomes 3R. Yes, with swing trading, what I suggest is what I suggest is actually pyramiding in if you're doing long-term swing trading, like you're trading off like a daily chart. If you're trading off like a 4-hour chart, then it's important to lock in profits at just like reasonable, like maybe 15 or hourly liquidity levels. Yeah, secure your profits because you can't get slipped. Preparing this 2022 model shorts going against the recent, yeah, there's definitely a short opportunity in here. Absolutely. It's just not my trading model, right? But I will anticipate it. Like we talked about this morning, like I will say it's very probable that price will do something like this, because we have very nice consolidated lows. I really like the idea of trading below these lows on one of the indices and forming SMT. So if there was an SMT formed right here, I'd also really like that thesis. I prefer that if I'm bullish on the day, actually. I just can't, like my trading model and my set of rules that I keep for myself as a trader, it won't let me trade short into this without a higher time frame array. Even if it does come down below these lows, I'll still be partaking in this long. That's the trade that fits my trading model. Okay, speaking of which, I'm gonna be monitoring these lows, obviously, right? Let's hop up a time frame. Look at the 50-minute chart, right? This is low resistance liquidity now, and I wanna see if we can form this SMT. So I want to see ES trade below this London low, right, like this. I want to see NASDAQ put in a swing failure right here at these Asian and London lows like this. So this is what I'm anticipating. And then, right, based off of that anticipation, I might want to trade a reversion back into this high because we've left swing failures in the market, which I think are very equal and inducing shorts at the moment. So that'll be my thesis. For maybe the equities open. But I've already taken a trade, so my next trade, I'll reduce my size, right? I don't want to turn a winning day into a losing one ever. What else do you do outside of trading? So I used to work in strategy consulting, right? So I worked at a consulting firm. I had clients, and then I was doing trading kind of on the side, and eventually I lost a lot of passion for that corporate job, obviously. So I went into trading full time. And then I really established a passion for teaching and mentoring. So now I have some students. I run Discord, right? And so I manage my time by doing that, because staring at the charts 24/7 can definitely be draining. So I like my community and stuff like that. But yeah, I worked in consulting previously, corporate. I don't have enough data on trades before 9:30. My win rate is trash with it. Yeah. I say when you're establishing yourself as a trader, trading before news or trading news distributions is fundamentally riskier because the volatility can often be it is exaggerated, and it can also often exaggerate losing trades and winning trades. But when you're starting, you just want to build systematic trust in your edge. And lots of variance in that edge, right, with these large wicks on news, is sometimes going to actually reduce your trust in your model. Probably need to go back to the video. What made you believe today that there was going to district to highs and not delay line of protraction? It was based on the higher time frame structure. So yeah, we talked about it a bit at the beginning. We did a full top-down analysis, and we were framing this SMT at the Asian lows as a bullish divergence with the NASDAQ, creating bullish structure, inverting our hourly bearish PD arrays, right? So we had this bearish SIBI inverted and the creation of a new hourly BISI on top. So that's not only an area of balanced price, but it's also respecting the lower time frame down close candles. You can see down close candles are being used as support. So now once we come into this hourly inefficiency, we expect a continuation of that bullish trend, and we want to liquidate. My target was this PM session high. And as you can see, I missed my fill by about 1 point. And I didn't move any of my limits or anything. So the majority of my position, I took above these highs, obviously. And I missed my TP by 1 point. And that's sometimes how trading goes, right? It's a part of the game. And whatever. For every time it does that, it'll also fill me, right? So it's no big deal. What I am curious to see is if the NQM contract took it. No. Oh, that's juicy. That's a juicy failure swing in the market. And the reason why I thought news would distribute higher, again, to come after your question, is because we had manipulated beforehand. So because we had this manipulation into 830, that means that 830 will distribute in my model, right? And I've taught this a bit as a part of my trading model. Guys in my Discord know, I look for certain things, if-then statements. If I get a manipulation before news, then I will trade a distribution out of the news, and vice versa. If I do not see a manipulation at 8:30, what I will do is I will anticipate the news to form the manipulation and then try and trade the distribution. As always, my eye will always be trained to see the distribution leg first. I won't try and partake in a manipulation of the market. For example, it's the reason why I won't short here is because the higher time frame order flow for me is still bullish. And there's no reason for me to short. I will look for longs here to these highs, right, I will look to invert, right, the bearish PD arrays created in this short-term displacement leg lower, similar to what we're doing right now actually, and I will look to long into this high for equities open. Yes, I am expecting us at some point in time to revisit this high because it's a swing failure, but I will need to see a structural alignment. At the moment, right, currently, I would like to see an SMT below these London lows for me to qualify a reversal potentially. Let me see a lower time frame. We do have an SMT at these 4:30 a.m. lows. Looks like this. But what I want to see potentially is going to be a higher time frame SMT, something like ES trading below this London low, and NASDAQ staying above these Asian lows, and then I will look for a shorter term reversal to target the failure swing. Yep, just staying alongside the higher time frame order flow, right? I'll need a PD array to key off of, so I will potentially be utilizing this inversion here that we're just tagged into, right, and true week. But I do want to see some more meaningful SMT in the market. So I'm just going to be patient. Allow the market to print. Ideally, at this point in time, I'm definitely looking for ES to trade below these lows. So I want to see this liquidity taken in the market. And I'll be patient and wait for that. And if it doesn't happen, then I will not take a trade long. Another trade long. I've already taken one trade long, right? So yeah, let's just allow that thesis to play out. As you guys will notice, the people who like watch my streams in my Discord, like it's always if-then statements, right? If you keep it very algorithmic in terms of how you approach, right, trade entries. If I see a certain set of parameters I will entry, it really reduces the amount of FOMO you have. And even like when you get like, you know, shitty things like this happen, right? You miss your fill by 1 point. Having a strong set of systems and rules about how you enter trades is really going to save you from kind of FOMOing into the next trade. Like I could have easily FOMOed into the reversal short, but it doesn't fit my trading model. Like it's fully against my trading model. What I would rather do is observe the short, see it play out, and then see if there's a reversal to my higher time frame draw and liquidity. Remember, for me, there's large inefficiency below market price that I'm okay with allowing price to retrace. If we come back into this inefficiency, it's not a short. I don't trade external ranges to internal ranges. I trade internal to external ranges. You guys have probably heard me say it. So I have no problem with just allowing price to trade into this inefficiency wherever it wants to trade into, and then trading a reversal from there because it's aligned with my higher time frame institutional order flow. So I don't need to be involved in every single move in the market. In fact, I'm only involved in a very small fraction of them. Yes, let's look for a divergence right in here. That'd be ideal. Let's stay on my hourly chart. I really am curious to see how this hourly candle closes. I assume this hourly candle is going to close with an inversion of this BISI. So then we will do something like this. And then form more SMT. And then potentially reverse into these highs. That's the best case scenario for me and the opportunity for me to take another long. Can you show your entry again? Do I use quarterly theory? I do not use quarterly theory besides true opens. So I do look at true week open, true day open, and then true session opens. Also the openings of 4-hour candles, right? Because every move in the market is an associated power of 3. So every 4-hour candle will form an open low high close or an open high low close. Just like the daily candle will form that open low high close, which is something that I've taught as protraction profiles, or AM Trades also talks about it with daily profiles. ICT talks about it, right? It's talking about how this daily candle forms in relation to the daily open. So yeah, I definitely do use opens, right? Candle opens, but not specific times in QT, like not cycles. Do I have more protraction videos in Premium? Yeah, I talk about them in intraday profiles so in Premium I have like a set of lectures on intraday profiling and protraction, so yes. So with ES and NQ being at highs, this performing hourly between the two. I don't trade ERL to IRL. Yeah. Oh, I answered your question. Yeah, I usually trade IRL to ERL. I don't try and time reversals in the market for the most part. I'd much rather see a confirmation of the current trend. And then once I get a change in state delivery, so if I see a higher time frame CISD, which is going to be the invalidation of essentially a bearish order block, or a bullish order block rather, right? So if we have these down close candles that get inverted, and we trade through, for example here, this will be an hourly CISD, change in state delivery below all these candles, and I'll look for price to do something like this. Even better if there's a displacement in here, right? A fair value gap, and I'll trade internal to external, right? So always internal to external, always keying off of the current, right, higher time frame order flow. That is where I will position myself, wherever lies the higher time frame displacement and order flow. Okay, what else? Where do you mark your standard deviations? Cassandra, I talked about that in like the very first 10 minutes of the video. So after, go back in, I actually do a full breakdown on how I anchor my standard deviations. Essentially, I'll repeat it one more time. For standard deviations, right, the fees is way, I guess. I don't know if anyone else does. I don't know if this is the common way or not the common way. This is what I do. I wait for internal range of liquidity, so it's going to be a fair value gap on either the H4 or on either the weekly or the daily or the H1. Then I look for SMT inside the FVG. I go to my intermediate time frame. So for the weekly, it's going to be the 4 hour. For the daily, it's going to be the 1 hour. And for the 1 hour, it's going to be the 5 minute. And I anchor fibs on last manipulation leg. This is how I approach standard deviations, and I keep it very clean that way. So what I look for is SMT divergence inside of a fair value gap, and then I look for the standard deviations of that last manipulation leg on an intermediate time frame. Only way I use standard deviations, because I don't like to have multiple levels. So here you can see internal range liquidity, daily fair value gap, SMT. I will use an hourly projection for my standard deviation. Here we have a weekly internal range of liquidity with an SMT. I will use a 4 hour projection, and this is how I map my higher time frame order flow and levels when I'm trading at all-time highs. It just keeps my chart with areas of interest. Let's see how this hourly candle closes. And this is another reason why you'll see me not trade shorts here, because for me, I'm fully expecting the potential for wicks here. Like this can easily wick and close within this imbalance. And I want you to study the price delivery, right, into imbalances similar to yesterday. At one point in time, this is a full engulfing down close candle that looks something like this. It's a black engulfing down close candle, and then it wicks above the previous candle low, above the inefficiency in market price right here, because the institutional order flow is bullish. That's why when I see large distribution candles lower against the main trend, I consider them to be manipulation, and I will not trade that short. So for me, this is not a short I'm interested in trading, because I'm not convinced on order flow. I'm not convinced on bearish order flow yet. I am wanting to see the SMT form though. So I will be very patient. I would not want to trade long without seeing the ES come in and sweep out these London lows. So just be very, very patient. I will be obviously staying on my higher time frame chart, seeing how this candle closes in 5 minutes at 9 a.m., right? I'm waiting till equities open. It's nice actually. You guys, we took our trades. Now I can just answer questions for a bit before equities open. So no IRL to ERL, always IRL to ERL. Yeah, I don't trade external to internal for the most part. I don't trade retracements of higher time frame order flow. What I will trade is expansions in the continuation of order flow. So if we look at a generic case of price delivery, if we are trending higher in a market on any time frame, right? Every time we liquidate, and let's actually use a standard market maker model schematic and say we have a sell side of the curve here. Okay. As we trade above an old high, this is going to be external range liquidity. In this case, these are going to be buy stops. Now, what we expect to see is the order pairing of buy stops, right, with some internal range of liquidity. So we're going to order pair these highs, and we might want to trade back into the range, right? If we look at the idea of premium and discount here, this is what I was talking about earlier. When the market is offering fair value and no longer seeking liquidity, it will refer back to a premium discount of the range. So we might get a move that looks something like this. And again, this is where you'd anchor your dealing range and you'd be able to understand where price wants to trade into. Now this move from external to internal is a retracement of the higher time frame order flow. I will wait for this retracement, look for a smart money reversal in this area right here. This is my SMR. And I will trade the pro trend or with trend expansion into the next set of buy stops. Because the market will oscillate between internal and external ranges, order pairing, right? Buy stops inefficiencies and inefficiencies with buy stops when it's trending higher, and vice versa when it's trending lower. And the reason why I don't trade retracements is because I want to see a low resistance liquidity run in the direction of the institutional order flow. Well, this is the direction of displacement. So trading back into a gap like we are here, right, is higher resistance liquidity than trading from a gap and distributing into buy stops, because the trend has shown me it's bullish. And when we get a change in the state of algorithmic delivery on a higher time frame, then the trend offers sell stops, inefficiencies, sell stops, inefficiencies, sell stops, right? The other reason why is because SMTs often form in expansive markets inside of internal ranges. Look, right? This is the reason why I don't like targeting IRL, and I instead look to use it as a catalyst for higher prices, is because if you look at the daily chart here, NASDAQ forms a smart money technique divergence, a bullish divergence inside the gap. So if I was trading this high external into internal, I actually don't get the full retracement I want to see. Likewise here, this retracement is higher resistance than the expansion out of this daily internal range. On the weekly chart, you can see we also form another SMT. So ES trades into this weekly gap. NASDAQ puts in a swing failure, and then you can see the expansion out of these internal ranges, right? This weekly change in the state of delivery right here. Weekly, SysD. You can see how the order flow is offering higher prices. So I want to be involved in those high probability distributional legs of the market as opposed to the retracements. Now that changes, right? So here on the weekly chart, you can see we were offering lower prices. Let's look at a daily chart. In here, we're on the sell side of a curve, and we are offering sell side liquidity. We know the market will reverse because we'll form a smart money technique right here, right? So if I go to this area of the chart on the daily, on the ES, you will see a SMT at those lows. That will signify the reversal of the market, right? There we go, right in here. This is the SMT. Right, so that will signify that we're now offering buy side of the curve. And when we get our change in state of delivery, you can see inefficiency on the daily chart right in here is respected, and we start to go higher. So I will trade with that institutional trend and only trade with that institutional trend for the most part. And if there's a high probability retracement, you'll sometimes see me scalping, but I tend not to apply full size when I'm scalping counter trend. That's more just to keep my muscles sharp in that area, right? You can trade both sides of the curve as ICT says, but it's about picking your battles sometimes. And I like to pick the battles that have higher probability. Let's go back to this chart quickly and I'll answer some more questions. Still waiting to see if we form that SMT below the London lows. Just gonna be very patient and wait for that. As I said, we're going to invert this BISI very likely. So I'll be looking for it to trade lower, but not take out these lows. I want to see a bullish divergence, right? I want to see this form. So I'm okay with price trading back into this inversion here and offering lower, but I do not want to see it liquidate these lows if I'm bullish. I would much rather see the SMT that we are going to observe potentially there. Okay? Get rid of that just to clean up my chart. I want my chart to be very, very clean so we can all look at the levels. Okay. That's what I'm looking for. Looking at some more questions. What do you recommend I do if I'm 2% from breaching my funded account? I do recommend sizing down, probably risking 0.25% until you're back to 5% away. And then you can risk, 0.5%. And yeah, it's going to be slow. It's going to be arduous, but you can definitely make your way to drawdown. I've done it before. Do you use YM divergence? I do use YM divergence, but I tend to look for ES and NASDAQ more. Yeah, I'll open positions anytime there's a clear manipulation that I can trade off of and a distributional target I can trade to, Henry. Yeah. It really just depends on the narrative. I don't trade within specific cycles of time. I trade within kill zones and look for my setups to emerge there. For H1 SMT, you anchor standard deviation on the 5-minute? Yep, I do. Morning, Rob. Why don't you remark the FVG on the 4-hour to the 2100 wick? Yeah, it's here. It's right. This is the 4-hour FVG in here that we keyed off of, right? And I was looking for 4-hour internal to 4-hour external, and we have a swing failure put in at the external. So now I'll look for a possibility to revert back into the range, right? Looking for this SMT. Just still notice how we can call, like we have called, right? We have called this distribution lower, and I'm not trading it. I don't need to trade it. It's okay to watch price deliver and do exactly what you want it to do, but if it doesn't fit your trading model, just sit it out. You only need to trade alongside what your trading model is. There's no reason to force every move in the market. If I could have traded this short with high probability into this low, but it's not my trading model, and I'd rather not break my model, right? There was no clear manipulation at midnight open. You're right. You're right. We're going to be repricing in this daily wick, and we're trading below it on the ES, which is the relative weakness. And I want to see the relative strength of NASDAQ. I wouldn't want to see, for longs, NASDAQ also trade below this low, in which case I wouldn't look for longs if, for example, we didn't quickly sweep and then revert back into the range. Great observation. Do I use order blocks or wait? Oh, do I have an update on Bitcoin? Yeah, let me look. Yep, Bitcoin waiting for a 4-hour SSD, and I will alert you guys in Discord when I'm going to be trading this if the weekly candle can wick this internal range. This is our daily internal we've wicked into here, but I'm really watching for this 4-hour model. I want to see a 4-hour change of state delivery above this high, which is going to make this a breaker, right? And then I want to look to go from here and target all of these failure swings. I'll be swinging, so I'll let you know. I'll keep you updated in Discord. Good question. Yeah, I'm excited for that opportunity potentially. I got a really good trade on it last week. Options went crazy last week, the volatility. Can you tell which daily protraction profile you used? Yeah, I used classic protraction into this high. So my draw on liquidity was this high. I saw a reversal at these London lows, SMT, and then displacement on the hourly. So once we traded back in to this Asian high, which acts as a breaker, right? We had an overlapping fair value gap with this Asian high. That's what I was using to target this high right here. Had we had taken out this high or formed SMT at those highs, I wouldn't have the same bullish perspective for the entire day. I'm still expecting to see higher prices today. But I do think it's very possible we'll dig into this inefficiency for sure. Like I really do want to see this SMT form with the lows. But because we didn't liquidate that high and we put in a swing failure, that was my target. Had we had just taken this high, I'd be done trading for the day because I would have, traded my news distribution and been done. Yeah, the live will be posted on my channel. Yep, it'll stay up on YouTube. I love how you have the higher time from the same chart. Yeah, it is an indicator. So I use a higher time frame, power of 3 by 2 degrees, and then I also use higher time frame candles by Fadi. I use both just to show, because I only have one chart really. Should on my laptop, right? Because I like to be mobile. So yeah. Are you always anchoring your fib from standard deviation from wick to wick? Yes, I usually do wick to wick. Yep, 99% of the time. Sometimes I'll use deviations on order blocks or breakers, but for the most part on manipulation legs, wick to wick. What about the devil's mark on the 4-hour as well as CE of the BIS? Yeah, if we trade lower, most definitely. If we trade lower, there is a very good chance we will revert back into this range, 100%. I just want to see this high taken out first, and I have my higher time frame objectives. I would much rather see price trade into these highs, then revert with SMT, right? Then leave these highs, smooth edges, and revert. If it does, I'll just look to trade this. For me, it's no worries. Both ways, I have to see this liquidity be swept and my key levels be taken before I change my thesis. So if we trade into the range, that's good, because it'll offer me opportunity to trade higher out of it. Ideally, we form SMT, right? That's what we've been looking at for the past hour-ish. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. There's no way to predict what the market will do. We can only anticipate what the market might do and then act on what it's actually showing us. What about the end dog it's right now? I don't really use, I need opening gaps or volume imbalances, right? So if you look at the new day opening gap, right? That's gonna be from 5 to 6 right here. Where is it? So yeah, this would be a new day opening gap if there was one formed here between 4 and 6. I don't really use it, just a volume imbalance. Yeah, same concept. It's just an inefficiency of price, right? Volume inefficiency. Why did price distribute lower right now? We talked about that, right? We talked about order pairing these highs with these relative equal consolidated lows. So if you look at these Asian lows, and we look at that as the original consolidation of a market maker sell model, that is why we're distributing lower. Likewise, for the ES, it's shown relative weakness. So you can see it put in a lower low, and now it might put in another lower low. So we expect, we talked about this in the first 5 minutes. We talked about we wanted to see price trade above this high and then into this low. And like I said, I just traded with the higher time frame order flow, which was a bullish hourly fair value gap. So I traded into that high as opposed to trading into that low. Roughly, it's the same move, right? From, where is it? From here to here versus here to here. Let's look at the distributional magnitude, right? We traded this, right? As opposed to this. And it's just because, right? Unless you want to pick the top on news, but that's unlikely. All right, we just traded the higher time frame distribution because this was aligned with our hourly FVG and our higher time frame order flow. We talked about, right? We want to trade alongside higher time frame institutional order flow. At least that's how I trade, right? I mean, there's no right way to trade. This short's absolutely valid. I'm sure some of my students took this short. Like I will look at my Discord later. I'm sure some of my students took this short. It completely comes down to what your trading model is, right? Do you not use order blocks? We talked about that. The relative equal highs may be revisited, yeah, but it's hard to time the markets. What you want to do is allow for structure to develop and then trade alongside the structure, right? Like in this case, I wasn't just bullish because the market was bullish on the news. Like we said we wanted to see price trade into here and then trade lower for a reason. Because we were offered, right, a bullish PD array and a level of confluence along with lower time frame structure to trade higher. We wanted to see that based on structure. Then we wanted to see this based again on structure, order pairing this high with these lows. And we want to see SMT here form based on what? Structure, right? It's all narrative based. We need to see certain things in the market based on what the actual market structure is telling us. Can you clarify why you wait for SMT at the lows, but ES are using low London? It's just ES London lows trade below the Asian lows, right? So this low right here in the market on ES is lower than this low right here in the market, right? Whereas this low in the market is lower than this low. So this is a higher low in relation to this low. London sweeps Asia on the ES and fails to sweep Asia on the NQ. And I want to see if New York can fail to sweep Asian in the PM or in the AM session in New York while forming the SMT here. Similar, I want to see the relative weakness of the ES. I want to see the relative strength of the NASDAQ. That would allow me a thesis to go long inside of, again, what? This higher time frame 4-hour inefficiency. Right? I want to see the relative strength here because I want to target this high. Had I got that high on news, I wouldn't be sitting here. I'd be like, okay, we got all of our TPs, good, we're done for the day. Which is what I usually do because I like being done in like 20 minutes. The true week, yeah. The reason why we use Monday at 6 p.m. and not Sunday at 6 p.m. is because if you look at the quarter one of any time frame, in quarterly theory, Q1 is defined as the accumulation quarter. So we assume that generally Mondays offer a weekly accumulation, and that's why we use Monday at 6 p.m. as the true week open. Just like we use Q2 of any session cycle, microcycle, and quarterly theory as the manipulation. We want to see if price can manipulate below the true week open at Monday 6 p.m., assuming Monday offers a range. Now, yesterday, Monday didn't offer a range. Monday offered a large expansion. So that true week open, I don't know if I necessarily would use to the same extent as a key level as I would if Monday consolidated, right? Because the true week is 400 points higher almost than Sunday open. No, it's not necessarily the same low. I'm looking at the time, right? The time at which this low is formed, the time at which this low is formed, then look at the time here. Right? This low at this time is a higher low. Good question. Yeah, really good question. Oh. Okay, so we have market open in 15 minutes. I will look to take another trade, right? If it's offered to me. Let's wait for some structure. I want to see the hourly SMT form as well. Cool. If you guys if you guys like this video, give it a like, and if it gets enough likes, I'll start doing this stuff more often. Let me know if you guys like enjoy these live streams and stuff like that. I do these pretty much every day in my server, but I know it's like not accessible for everyone. So yeah, I don't mind doing this like maybe once a week, something like that. Maybe once every couple weeks. F1 Speaker at 10 doesn't affect my trading plan. No, it's not a red folder news event. Yeah, I don't care about winner or loser, Nick, to be honest, right? I will trade alongside the order flow I'm given. So if I had taken a loss this morning, I'd still be using the same approach right now. Yeah, the outcome of a trade doesn't matter to me at all. It's just one trade, right? Yeah. You have to embrace a mindset, right, of statistical thinking and probabilistic thinking if you want to succeed in this industry. So I come from a background of math. I'm an engineer, right? So for me, it's all math. And the math here is just you have to trade alongside your expected value of your model, right? And my expected value of my model has been shown through data to be, have some positive generating return or alpha. So I just stick to my model. I don't care about the individual losers. I think one of the best things like people learn probably from my streams in premium and maybe now on YouTube is how I manage my emotions when I'm losing. I take lots of losing trades. I have about a 70% win rate. So that means 3 out of 10 trades I'm completely losing. And that's fine. I'm completely okay with that because in the long run, I make money every single month from trading. You can join my Discord in my links in my Twitter. Let me put it here, sorry. I'll put the link here for you. It's good because we have lots of questions. Yeah, definitely. I definitely don't mind doing the live streams every once in a while on YouTube. I think it's good to reach out to more people. Like I understand it's not accessible for everyone to join Discord, and also like you never need to pay money to learn. But I will say it will, in some ways, like it will drastically accelerate your learning. That's the only reason why I do a Discord. That's the only reason why I teach, to be honest, is because it drastically accelerates learning, and I never had that. I learned the really hard way and the long way. I didn't have a mentor really. So yeah. How do you win one and done? It doesn't matter. I usually don't limit myself in number of trades these days, but I used to only take one trade a day, win or loss. Yep, no matter what. When all the rules are met, I drop to a lower time frame to look for an SMT. How do you confirm a lower time frame SMT and feel confident will be respected? What I do, right, is I place my stop loss like clear invalidation. So inside of my internal range of liquidity, fair value gap, that SMT that's formed, I will place my stop below. And sometimes it gets wicked. And that's just a part of the game, right? Like just like today, we missed our target by 1 point and I didn't go in there and manually close my position or change anything. It's a part of the game. Sometimes we're gonna get wicked out, right? Shit happens. We haven't formed that SMT at the London lows. That's unfortunate. I'm not trading this long until we get that. I would have really liked to see ES come below here, so I'll wait. Just gonna be super patient. Super patient, yeah. I think it's just manipulation into the open, but I do like the relative strength here of NASDAQ, for sure. Do you have a limit? Yeah, I only lose a maximum of $300 per account per day. So I have 20 PAs and I trade them 10 at a time. So I have a max loss per day of around 6,000. And if I lose 6,000 on the day, I'm done. and whatever I win, I win. I just don't. I limit my losses to 6,000 per day. Yeah. Do I know Hindi? I don't. I used to speak a few languages. Unfortunately, now I speak really broken French and English at best. No, no worries. It's a good question, man. It's a really good question. Keep asking them, guys. This is what it's for. Yeah. All right. My Twitter is not opening, so what I'll do is I'll attach my. Okay. Someone was asking for the link. I will put it there. I really don't know how to pin a message. Let me try doing that. Sorry, I'm a complete like noob at this Discord stuff. All I can do is click emojis right now. Okay, it's right there. I put it there. I don't know how to pin it. Sorry. I'll try and pin it after. Cool. Let me keep watching. YM did have a 5-minute SMT. Yeah, there is a lower time frame SMT in here. What I want to see is ES specifically trade below this low. Now, why is because we have the resistance now of true day. We also have a rejection block forming on the 1 hour here. And I'd like to see, right, a high resistance jagged edge be put in on the ES. These are smooth edges now. I'd like to see something like this. And I'd like to see the SMT form, right? Regardless of whether this happens, I hope you guys can see that my approach is gonna be formulaic, right? I'll have a plan and then I won't really deviate from that. If I have a level that gets hit at a certain time with a certain form of structure around it, then I'll trade. If not, I'll just watch price, right? There's lots of moves in the market. Everything is a move in the market. And you don't wanna make the mistake of thinking every move has to be traded. It's a kind of a pipe dream. It's not realistic. Okay, I figured out how to pin the message. Awesome. Okay, so for whoever asked the Discord link, I pinned it. Cool. About how often we go live here? I think once every couple of weeks, dude. I don't know, like yeah, once every week, once every couple of weeks. I do stream pretty much every day in my Discord, so I'll keep doing that. But on here, yeah, like I mean, let me know. You guys will let me know based on your likes, comments, all that kind of stuff on the video. And I'll see what the feedback is. If it's positive feedback, then yeah, I'll definitely do it, man. Just no nonsense approach, man. I'll just tell you guys kind of how I trade. You guys will get to see me lose, see me win. But yeah, if you want like more regular streams, updates, stuff like that. Honestly, if you want the access to my lectures, which I think is the most important thing, really. I mean, everything I'm using here, I've taught, right, in some extent, and I've taught it in depth. Then yeah, check out the premium. Check it out for a couple months to just get the lectures, learn, study, ask people questions in the community. We have a lot of really, really good traders in there who've gotten a lot better like in the past couple months. So yeah. All right. Any more questions? I mean, we have 10 minutes. I'm gonna grab some water. I'll be right back. I'll be back for equities open. My dog's right here too. I don't know if you guys. Mango's a fan favorite. Come here, bud. While we're waiting, I'll show you. Hey, come here. I don't know if you guys can see, but this is my golden retriever puppy. His name's Mango. He keeps me humble. He keeps me busy too. He makes sure I don't spend all day, staring at charts. Okay, bye. Get some water. Sure. What? On your place, good boy. When I say water, I meant coffee. As you guys know, I live on coffee, so. I've been trading Super C17 for around 3 years. I spent, unfortunately, probably over a year doing the wrong things. But after I discovered ICT, it took me about 16 to 18 months, yeah. And then once I discovered ICT, yeah, it kind of clicked. But it was a grind, man. It was a grueling process of learning. I won't lie to you. I won't sugarcoat things. It was not always easy at all. Yeah. Okay, what I'm gonna look for on equities open might be a distribution higher. I didn't see the SMT form. I don't think I'm going to. Damn, that sucks. I think ES might come in and take this high, but I can't short this, unfortunately. I can't long this, unfortunately, without an SMT. Yeah, I can't long without an SMT. I'm really hoping 930 off. Hoping. Sorry, that's a terrible word to use. I'm hoping 930 offers a distribution, a manipulation before the distribution, but no SMT, no trade. That's just gonna be my rule, guys. But structure looks nice here on the ES at least. Maybe he wants to run out this high. Maybe that's the SMT we form. We could form an SMT at these highs, in which case I'll look to potentially trade short back into the range. Just gonna see what price does on the open, because this move higher looks like ES is reaching for that news candle high. Does my premium have a lifetime option? No, I have a 3-month and 6-month option, I believe. I think when I set it up. I mean, if you're interested, just send me a DM. We can talk about it. But yeah, I just started it a couple months ago, so I haven't really thought about lifetime option. I just do monthly or every couple months. Great content in the vibe. Appreciate it, bro. Yeah, I try and keep it as no bullshit as possible, man. I remember when I was starting, I was in a lot of Discords and a lot of different live streams, and God, I learned nothing. So if you learn anything, that's good. That's the goal, man. Plus, no one would ever answer my questions. I don't know why. I'd go on these Discords and there'd be some dude live streaming giving me an option signal, but I'd ask questions and no one would answer me, which was terrible. I was like, well, I want to learn how to trade these EMA crosses. Obviously, that was stupid, but I still, no one taught me. No one actually listened to me wanting to learn about the EMA crosses. So out of this wick, I will mark out a key level, actually. I'm going to be looking at the consequent encroachment of this wick, which is the 50% mark. And I want to see if ES trades into that maybe as a manipulation, but I'm still looking for lower first, guys. I won't trade higher until I see lower. Rule. I'm glad you guys can see me listening and respecting the rules I set up. I appreciate that, man. Yeah. Discord's awesome. I love our community. I created the Discord because I got a lot of requests for one-on-one mentorship, but I have a lot of students, and I give my students a lot of time, and I only have so much time, right? So the Discord is an awesome kind of baby mentorship. It gives you a lot of the same experience. You don't get everything because I just don't have enough time to do everything all the time, right? But yeah, I think the Discord's great. I like it. I think there's a lot of value in there. I also just like the people in there, man. Trading can be lonely. I don't know. When I was learning trading, it was super isolating, super lonely. It was just me. None of my friends did trading. All of my family told me to stop trading because I lost some money at first, obviously, like most of us do. A lot of you guys might know my story, might not. I essentially leveraged credit card debt to learn trading because I was so invested in making money and not invested in learning that I went into a very good amount of credit card debt, over $20,000. And I had to grind myself out of that credit card debt. It was very isolating. My friends and family did not support me. It was only once I stopped caring about money and really started focusing on the process, which is why I'm so process oriented these days, that I actually started making money. And then eventually, you'll hear from everyone, but once you start making money, right, you have to find things outside of money to motivate you, because money will just be that. It'll just be money. For me, it was teaching, Discord, that kind of stuff, like having my students. That was awesome. It really kept me motivated. But yeah, don't make my mistakes of doing it the way I did. It's the worst. It's the worst way to do it because it's super isolating, especially if you lose all your money in the markets like a dumbass like me. And then you do it with credit cards, which is even stupider. Like if I could go back and tell myself anything and just be like, don't ever leverage debt to learn to trade. It's one of the dumbest things you can do. Do I use creamer in my coffee? I do. All right, what other questions do we have? We have 5 minutes till open. I'm looking at key time levels now, right? So now we have price levels interacting with time levels. The 8:30 here, right? This open of the 8:30 candle. I want you to study it because this 8:30 candle right here is overlapping with this true week. And we want to see if it offers resistance or support, right? We want to see if price can trade through or it gets wicked out by this series of up close candles. So what we can also mark out is the 50%. Let's just use this 5-minute changes day of delivery. So we have the mean threshold of this order block overlapping these time levels. We want to see if price is offered resistance here to trade lower. Again, this move into equities open, I don't trust yet because I didn't see my SMT form. Now again, we have this really higher time frame SMT still, right, in the market. And we're not going to ignore that SMT because it still exists, right? This one between this low here and this low here. But I have a condition. I want to see at least some SMT below these lows, or else it can reach up without me. That's fine. Right now, you can see we're in a broadening formation, right? So what we're doing is we're offering both sides of the market on ES. And a broadening formation is simply an expansion of both sides of the range. Just another way of saying you're creating an inside bar with a large wick. So we'll see. Oh, I appreciate that a lot, man. Thank you. Yeah, I really appreciate that. Super kind of you to say that. Yeah, and also like all the stuff on YouTube as well. Sorry, sidetrack. All the stuff on YouTube, I'll keep uploading that kind of stuff. I'll keep doing market reviews on Twitter. Yeah, there'll still be lots of stuff for free as well. Don't worry about that. Never gonna sell out like that. What indicators do I use most regularly? Honestly, I only use a couple indicators. I use sessions just so I have boomer eyes. I don't wear glasses, but I like to see the Asian and London session. Yeah, it's well, with the broadening formation, what you tend to see is a candle that looks like this, which closes as a doji potentially, right? Especially if it's a true seek and destroy, and it broadens the previous candle. So if the candle had another wick that looked like this, right? This is what a broadening formation is. What it does is expands the highs and the lows and often closes inside the range of the body of the previous candle. It's just a manipulation of both sides of the market. Hope that makes sense. 50-minute market maker sell model? Yeah, on ES I can see equal highs and equal lows. So this is really like more of a box setup. I'm looking to see which one of these gets deviated first. Be interested to see that because right now we have equal lows and we have equal highs. I'm still looking for SMT though. SMT will qualify a trade. So ES looks like I said, like it wants to reach into this news candle high. NASDAQ actually looks weaker. Interestingly enough, because it's shown relative strength, all overnight session. But it's how the market can sometimes change, right? We've seen that. Look at YM. And YM acts like a penny stock. YM on open tends to do this. I don't know if you guys have been studying it, like every day. Just forms a large expansion and then just rips lower. Are we going up or down with cash open? I would say I'm going to wait until we see SMT at the lows. Yeah, Abdul, I definitely do use Dixie, especially when we're trading at all-time highs. So for me, as you can see, Dixie is trading back in now on news into this 4-hour fair value gap. I want to see if we're going to be offered support by this inversion here. Also, I want to see if the 4-hour can wick above this down close candle. Really gonna see, this could be manipulation, and this could form a wick and then attack the buy side. Obviously in the higher time frame, we have this breaker and FVG overlapping, which is our unicorn setup. So still bullish on the dollar, but the correlation hasn't really been there recently as much as I'd like it to be, especially yesterday when we were just chopping all morning. I don't know if you guys saw that. So as you can see, this open is incredibly volatile, incredibly hard to trade. Do I have videos explaining SMT? I'm actually going to make a video for premium this month. Great question. That's my next planned video. Again, look at YM is doing it. YM, the classic, this is YM. Up and then down every morning. Look, let's see, yesterday. I don't know. If you go study YM, it's every single day. We just rip up and rip down. Rip up, rip down. Rip up, rip down. Ugh, it's gross. I couldn't trade YM right now. Okay. So the SMT has not formed yet. This is still speculative on my chart, waiting for that to see if it forms. It might form at the highs first. Now let's study, right, these lower time frame dynamics. I think ES will likely reach up into this news candle high. I want to see how this 15-minute imbalance is treated on NASDAQ. And again, you'll often find yourself in a hurry to get involved in a trade on equities open, like I used to be, very impatient. Allow price to develop. Use the equities open as information, right? Because this is like hard to trade. You're getting conflicting signals. Yes, it has SMT is on go. Yeah, I'm going to see if we form an SMT at these highs. And yeah, maybe we'll come into this high and then we'll trade lower off this 15-minute imbalance into NASDAQ's lows. So potentially, given the weakness of NASDAQ, I will look for a trade short into this low if I see SMTs at these highs, because that will qualify, right? A 1 minute market maker sell model. So again, I'm just going to use a fractal approach here, because if I see SMT form above this high, I can now use the relative weakness of NASDAQ, as I can see in price action currently, alongside that SMT. Yeah, I thought we were going to trade into IRL as well. That's how we react to what the market shows us, right? We don't have to predict anything. It's not important to predict. We already took a winning trade this morning. Remember, we already took this winning trade. So now we're patient, right? Or I took that winning trade, so now I'm being extra patient and allowing all my confluences to form so I can get a complete image of what's going to happen. Look at ES, attacking news candle high. It just took that liquidity, and now it should reach up into this high. So the weakness of NASDAQ here is on full display. So what I will do is I will look to, once this SMT forms, I will look to short the NASDAQ into these lows. So let's get some levels on our charts and start looking at how we want to approach this. So what we want to look for is the SMT to form, and then I want to look for a 1 minute sell model out of this 15-minute array into these lows potentially. Yeah, because the relative weakness now of NASDAQ is being shown, and we're forming SMT at the highs. So as you can see, we're forming this higher time frame divergence as we speak. Here's a divergence, right? Above this news candle high. NASDAQ has no more bidding, it seems, to do with this high at the moment, since it's not getting support to the same extent that ES was. Boom, rips the news candle high. I'd like to see ES trade up into here. If we can trade up into the PM session highs, that's the ideal SMT to form. The ideal SMT to form is going to be above these PM highs, right? Same with the YM. We want to see if we can trade all the way up into the PM highs. One of them needs to form that divergence. Now, this SIBI, you can see institutional order flow is what is being respected, what is being disrespected. What is being respected on the NASDAQ? We have this balanced price range in here on the 15-minute chart, right? We have this hourly inversion. Remember I said we'll mark it out. Don't forget about it. I'll put it back on my chart. We have the hourly inversion right overlapping it. So let's keep that on the chart so we are paying attention to it. Hourly inversion here. Make this a little bit less bright. And we have the 15-minute SIBI overlapping. So now we're going to look, right, for a 1 minute sell model relying on the weakness of NASDAQ if structure offers it. If we don't get a structural offering, then it doesn't matter because we're not going to trade short, right? Okay, I'm going to delete this inversion 1 hour blue thing. You guys know it's there. This is the 1 hour inversion FVG. You can see it right here on my higher time frame candles. Now this study, again, here we go. YM takes out that high, yesterday's high. Now look at the weakness of NASDAQ, right? This is true order flow. Look at the weakness here in relation to this move higher. It's telling you a story about where smart money is positioning themselves. And you be patient, because why do you want to be patient? Because the higher time frame order flow is what? Bullish or bearish? Remember, we tried to short ES, got absolutely cooked. Got cooked, right? We put in these we didn't come in below these lows. We put in this failure swing. So if I short NASDAQ, I need to see some real confirmation in the form of structure to get involved, or else I'm not trading short. Right? SMT alone means nothing. It needs to be structurally aligned. So you can see we have equal highs now forming on the 1 minute, right? You'll be able to see them. Relative equal highs. This is going to be the open of a 5 minute imbalance right here. Right? Equal highs in the 1 minute, 5 minute imbalance, failure swing. Look at the weakness. Look at the bodies. NASDAQ can barely reach in above, right? This gap. Like it cannot close into the gap even, whereas ES is straight face ripping. So that's giving us an indication, right, of which index you want to be shorting. Obviously, you want to short weakness, right? Great question. How do I know it's not the sixth sister? I'm going to only know that based on structure. If I get bearish structure, right, coming out of this gap, I'll know it's not a sixth sister approach. If I get bullish structure through the gap, I'll know it's going to be lagger now, and it might eventually catch up. Again, structure will always be king. So if I invert this 1 minute FVG, I will look to short. I will look to short into these lows. Okay, that's the trade plan, right? If we invert this FVG, I'm going to shorten these lows, right? Trade for the SMT. I'm anticipating the SMT to form. I'm going to enter right now on the distribution. I'm entering. Again, looking for the SMT to form. Just a logical approach, right? Like look at the relative strength weakness here, right? This is how we can approach shorting counter trend, because the market is willingly showing us a institutional resistance point in the form of an imbalance, and we have relative equal lows, and we have SMT, right? So now we have the SMT that forms here. So now this is a short that I'm willing to trade counter trend, right? And I'll live with the outcome. If it stops me out, it stops me out, right? That's fine. This now becomes an inversion fair value gap. Let's see how we treat it. We wouldn't want to see price rip aggressively through it again. What we'd want to see is price trade below the first partial. Could be these equal lows, for example. We have these lows. Something like that. Actually, these are pretty, that's not enough RR. It depends on your RR. Actually, I won't tell you how to manage your trade. Manage however you want. I'm looking for these lows here, and then the Asian lows, personally. Again, it's not a signal service, guys. I'm just walking you through what I'm thinking on the charts. Okay. Just gonna set my limits. Sorry. I have boomer eyes. If you ever see me straining, it's because I have terrible eyes. I need glasses, as you guys can probably tell. I have glasses. Actually, they're right here. Maybe I'll put them on. I need to wear my glasses. There we go. Okay, so just watching order flow, right? I don't mind if ES trades higher even here. This for me has been confirmed with bearish order flow, right? So I don't need to fear the relative strength of the ES. What I want to see is that SMT at the lows be put in as well. Get blue light glasses. I think you're right. I think it's a good idea. So what I want to look for now for a target to the sell side, right, higher time frame potentially, is going to be using this wick. And projecting this wick out in time. Again, look at the levels of distribution. They line up with my liquidity targets, so I like that, right? So I will take some contracts off at these levels, and then I'll also hold one until, somewhere a runner. I'll hold a runner. I like this wick on the 4 hour and 1 hour being the manipulation, right, of this daily range, forming the SMT at the highs. Okay, so I'm up around 25-ish points, 23-ish points. I got a good fill. But it's pretty volatile, so it's still wicking. We'll see. $144 people here. Wow, that's awesome. Thanks for showing up, guys. Yeah, let me know if you guys if you like this stuff. Give it a like if you like it. That's the only way I can really tell if it's being received well. So now we're seeing this ES start to wick back in the range, right? Trading below this imbalance that we have. We can mark out that imbalance here. So this here is the open of the imbalance on the 15-minute chart. This is the high, and that's the imbalance. What daily profile calls New York, or what daily profile on Dixie calls New York reversals? It's going to be, in this case, you can see that the correlation hasn't necessarily been, I haven't been using Dixie as much recently because the correlation hasn't been perfect. Generally, you just want to see inverse relationships between DXY and the NASDAQ. That's the best way to put it. You want to see just inverse. Awesome. You guys like it? Keep streaming on YouTube? Good. Okay, I'll try and do one of these every couple weeks for sure. I can't take away too much from my Discord group, or else obviously there wouldn't be a value in doing the Discord group, but every once in a while for sure. Can I short ES? I don't give signals. I am currently in a short on the NASDAQ if that interests you. I'm talking you through everything. You got to make your own decisions. I think I did tell you about this short though, exactly when I entered, but it was on NASDAQ, not ES. Yeah, in this case, I would obviously prefer to short the weakness, right? Not the strength. Look at the institutional order flow, right? So for premium guys, I have my mini lesson on institutional order flow. Actually, I posted on Twitter. So if you guys on my Twitter, we talk about institutional order flow. And then in premium, we talk about PD rate selection as well. This is kind of how you utilize that institutional order flow lesson, right? This is how you see relative strength and weakness. 1 second, I'm getting a call. Hey, what's up, man? Okay, so I need the Equifax one? Okay, I'm just on stream right now. As soon as I finish up, I'll do that, okay? Yeah, no, I'm on YouTube. It's all good. As soon as I'm done, I'll send that over, okay? I'll probably be done in the next, like, 25 minutes-ish. I'll try and get, I know we need it today, right? Or we need it, like, as soon as possible, right? Okay, yeah, let me finish up streaming and then I'll do it. Okay, cool, bro. Take it easy. Peace, peace. Sorry about that, guys. I have to submit some documents after this stream ends. That'll be fun. Okay, so still the same levels on my charts. Coming into that true day open on the NASPAC, gas pack. Let's see, I want to see some displacement here. Hop down to a lower time frame. It'd be nice for us to just displace these lows so I can go. Completely greedily, I have to leave. So it would be nice to get the TP so I can leave. Or stop out, whatever. Either SL or TP soon so I can leave. Tell him you're live, audience watching. Yeah. he's actually one of my students. He was calling me. We're getting a place together. We're living together. I used to work with him in corporate, in my corporate job in consulting, and then he became one of my students, and we're from the same city. And I was like, you know what? Let's live together. It'd be the best chance for you to learn. He's come along so quickly, so fast. So I'm like, let's do it. But we have to sign our lease, and they're not taking my credit report. Sorry, I'm way oversharing about my personal life, but yeah, I gotta send that in again. Do I ever trade Forex pairs? No, not really, no. Do you go live on Discord every day? Yep, pretty much. 4 times a week-ish. What's your level to close your short? My first TPs? So both my TPs are on the chart right now. These are my 2 TPs, and I have an extended TP all the way down here. Let me put it. Extended TP all the way down here. So all TPs are now shown on the chart. Hope that helps. I really do. I do like this. I really like this trade. This is one of the few times you'll see me trading counter trend. But again, it's all fractal, right? I used a 1 minute sell model, right? Using the same criteria as my higher time frame that I used for the buy model this morning. So it's awesome. Okay, TP1 is about to hit. Edging it, it's close. Let's see, I'll announce when that is in case anyone's not on their screens. Do I live in the States? I'm trying to move to the States. I'm applied for my visa. I live currently in Canada, Eastern Canada. So yeah, I will be moving to the States soon. The visa process takes a while. Yeah, no worries, Granite Canyon. My pleasure. With NQ moving slowly, could this reverse at 10 a.m. news? Yeah, it can always reverse. You always have to size to lose, right? Anticipate losers and welcome winners. Size to lose. Yeah, it absolutely could. There's nothing stopping it from reversing. Right now, we're taking off our trader or taking off our analyst hat and we're putting on our trader hat. And all we have to do is react emotionlessly to what price does, because in the end, right, the individual outcome of trades is largely irrelevant. All we are doing, right, as analysts is trying to find high probability trade setups in the market and then put risk behind those ideas. That's it. So if we get stopped out, we get stopped out. If we hit TP, we hit TP. Just move on to the next. You have to embrace, it has to be like a business to you. It has to be a series of logical decisions. You execute on them, you live with the outcomes, you move on to the next one. Systems over outcomes, right? If you have good systems, you'll get good outcomes. If you have good process and good habits, you'll make money. Trust me, I've made so much money from trading and I don't think about money, and that's why I make the money. When I was focused on the money, I never made money trading. It's the paradox. I never made any money trading when I focused on it. When I focused on the process, I started making, $5, $10, $15, $20,000 a month just because I stopped looking at the numbers. Seriously, truly. And there's no other way that I say it. TP1 just hit. There's no other way to say it other than focus on the process. Reward yourself for doing the hard work of learning. Like I was telling some of the premium folks, like when they show up to like live streams and stuff, and you guys here on on YouTube, when you show up and you learn and you take the feedback that like you learn, you take lessons seriously, you actually ask good questions, reward yourself by that and don't sabotage, right? Allow your edge and expectancy to play out over a series of trades, and you will be profitable and you will make good money, but you have to forget about the money. And I know everyone says that, and I know it's like, okay, if he's sure, you sound like everyone else, but I'm telling you right now, if you take anything away from this, it's like, don't focus on individual trades, okay? All right, so TP1 was hit. We're gonna see if we can get some movement into TP2. At this point, right, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna reduce my risk because I've hit my first TP and just allow the trade to continue developing, right? Get comfortable with sitting in the uncomfortability of realized profits. A lot of traders, they're uncomfortable in drawdown, but they're also uncomfortable in profits. And the reason they're uncomfortable in profits is because it's equally as jarring to give back to the market and not secure early gains. But how many times have you closed early and then the market runs and it rips to your higher time frame targets and objectives, right? So get comfortable with those uncomfortable moments. And one of them is, allowing your trade to develop, right? So here I'm gonna be watching the lower time frame structure, but I'm allowing my trade to develop. And I already took my TP, right? So if price comes back up and stops me out, I've already partialed out of this position. I've already secured gains. So yeah, it's a free trade, right? Not necessarily, but yeah, this is a great trade. I'm glad we got to catch a couple of good ones today. Again, it doesn't really matter win or loss. I would have been equally as happy if we took a loss today on stream altogether as well. And if you guys join Discord, if I do this again, like more often, you guys are gonna see I take losses all the time. Yeah. Of course, man. Yeah. Being transparent and offering like my experience is all I can do, right? And you can learn the TA anywhere. I think I teach it quite well, but obviously I'm gonna say that. Of course I'm gonna say I teach it well. But I think the more important thing is, right, the experience and just, learning from real conditions and then seeing me in live trades. Or seeing how I react at least to live trades. These glasses are super uncomfortable. Okay, so what I'm watching is the mean threshold of this up close candle. I want to see how we react to this candle. I'm going to get rid of this price level simply because you guys can see we've already hit the first TP. So everyone, if you're in a trade, secure some profits obviously. And now we let the trade play out. If it wants to reverse, by all means it can reverse. If it wants to offer lower prices, it can offer lower prices. Let's sit together if you're in the trade with the uncomfortability of allowing a trade to develop, right? Allow the thesis to play out. Because again, your individual actions actually have the greatest impact on your expected value, which is hard to recognize in the moment. But it's like the emotional decisions you make as the operator generally fuck up the edge that you've built. Generally speaking, sometimes it might not, and it's even worse when it doesn't. When you make these game time decisions and they pay out, like for example, averaging down tremendously or cutting early or all these things. When you do that and it works out, it can be very bad to the long-term success of your model because it rewards the wrong types of behavior. My Discord does not offer lifetime membership at the moment. I had another question about that actually, like 20 minutes ago. I think I have a 3-month option. I just started the Discord, relatively recently, so I hadn't even considered that, but maybe in the future, yeah. I'm also planning on doing, I just set up the WAP, so it takes time to offer like a discount code, but for current members, I'll be able to apply a discount code. I told like my current members that we're gonna try and get a discount code going in the next couple months. I don't know how technology sucks, but yeah, I think they need 1 month of the new price and then discounts. Okay, so right now you can see that we're trading higher. I'm gonna see if we respect this down close candle or if we trade through it. Right? Up close candle. Sorry. Let's see. Again, I have my stop at break even on my runners, so if it comes back in and stops me at a break even, which it just did, there you go. I'm now out of that position, and I allowed the trade thesis to develop, right? So now I took my trade. I took out the bulk of it at my first TP, like I always do, at least 1/3 of my position, if not more, right? And then whatever happens, happens. We let the trade play out. So now let's look at structure here. We have now come below these lows, right? And we can see that NASDAQ is trading now into off of these lows right here, right? This is our first TP, very nice target that we had. And now let's observe how price reacts to this 15-minute order block. Again, we just want to see if there's going to be a change in state of delivery, or there's going to be any bearish signals offered. Right now, lower prices still look good, right? Because this higher time frame hasn't been invalidated yet. Let's see. Again, I would look to short again, right? If I got some validation of bearish order flow. It's all good. Let's keep going. How long do you think it took you to forget about the money? Longer than it should have. probably around a year and a half. Yeah, a year and a half, I would say, of just constantly focusing on making money and making no money. It's the paradox of trading, right? You focus on the money, you make none. You focus on the process, you actually start making money. It's crazy how that works, right? Yeah, it took a while. I did it not the best way for a long time. Look at the DXY. We're moving lower. So the next draw on liquidity becomes this low on the 4-hour chart. Obviously, I'm just deleting that for now. We can obviously still wick it. So maybe I'll keep it on my chart. Lots of time in this 4-hour candle. NASDAQ puts in a big doji here. Still bearish order flow for the most part. Nothing's invalidated. Comes back into that 50-minute order block. I'm still looking for it to trade into these lows here. That would make the most sense for me personally. Right? You don't want to be induced by these moves higher. You want to manage your risk, that's all. Okay, yeah, bearish order flow, continuity, should reach into this low right here. Nice failure swing. So the next target's going to be 2158, right? Yeah, that's pretty to script actually. This move higher right here is a large manipulation of the market. That one's brutal. We put in a really, really nice swing failure at that low, rip up higher, and then come back down. Market making activity right there. Question. 90% trading is not trading. Yeah, 100% it's not. Like you can learn the fundamentals, and once you learn them, you'll have success. And you need to learn the right things. Like there's a lot of noise. To be honest, there was a lot of noise out there. And when I was starting, I would do everything. I was jumping boat from one strategy to another, to another, to another, right, all the time. It was only once I kind of established what I was focusing on that I actually saw success. But yeah, definitely. It's a mental game for sure. Why wouldn't you use both candles as a unicorn on Dixie? I use this candle here because it overlaps this fair value gap in here. So a breaker is only a breaker if it overlaps an FVG in my playbook, right? I have a lecture on this called PD array selection, and I only consider a breaker if it overlaps an FVG. So in this case, I'm just going to use this one candle. Good question. All right, so we're trading back into this 1 minute imbalance, right? Again, true day open is the midnight opening price. Let's see how we react to it. If NASDAQ wants to trade lower and reach into that sell side liquidity draw. And this gold line is our true day open. And then after I watch this develop, I'm going to have to hop off simply because I have to submit some documents and take my dog for a walk. But yeah, like the video. If you want me to do it again, leave a comment when it's posted. Study it if there's anything interesting to study. And yeah, if you end up joining the Discord or anything, say hi to me in there. Tell me you came from this YouTube. And if you do join, we have a lesson on Saturday on daily bias. So that'll be in the server for premium on Saturday morning if you're interested in studying that. I'm going to be going through the 6 main tools I use every day for daily bias. Kind of like top-down approach. This is really choppy delivery. Let's see if dollar wants to reach into this low. Bitcoin's still in that daily inefficiency. What field of engineering was I in? I studied chemical engineering. Yeah, I have a master's in chemical engineering actually. It's not the most useful degree to be completely honest, at least for what I do now, but it teaches you discipline, hard work, right? Systems over outcomes. Surviving my engineering degree was like the hardest thing I ever did. It was a very, very difficult degree. Yeah. And I don't know, it teaches you how to learn, right? Learning how to learn is like a skill. And I think the one thing I took from my college degree was I learned how to learn really effectively. I became a good learner. And that definitely has, been an advantage for me in my life. But man, I wish I discovered day trading before my 6 years of university. That was a lot of university, a lot of school. Do I watch Euros? No, I don't really watch Forex pairs, to be honest, dude. Won't lie to you, I'm mostly just trading NASDAQ every day. I became profitable trading the NASDAQ, right? So it became kind of like my bread and butter index. Sometimes I'll trade the S&P, like the ES, but most days I'll trade NASDAQ. Let's see what price wants to do here. I'm interested to see if price wants to reach into this low. It's induced it. Yeah. That Asian low looks really nice for NASDAQ. I'd love to see a divergence at that Asian low, to be honest. That would be like ideal. Even if I went along now, given the relative weakness of NASDAQ. But we'll see what happens. Let's see if we get support in this inefficiency. Lower. To resistance, I should say. Eid Mubarak to you as well. IRL to ERL trades always chop to your TP. True. Of course, Abdul, it's my pleasure. Yeah, IRL to ERL is always going to be better. This is a slow, choppy, kind of high resistance liquidity run, if you will, into our target. Now, I still believe it should trade into this low, but it could leave a swing fail here, just like it did at the highs. Right? There's nothing, the order flow on the higher time frame is still bullish, and we're still in that order block, right? Here. So yeah, we'll have to see. I'm still interested in seeing a price move into here, but we'll see what happens, right? You got to trade what the market is showing you and not what you want to see happen. Are you funded? Yes, I am. I have 20 PAs. I don't trade them 20 at a time though. All right, so price is actually moving higher back into that 15-minute order block. Let's see what happens. We want to see how this 15-minute candle interacts with this level here, right? Oh, Euros football. No, I don't watch much soccer. I'm Canadian too, sorry, I say soccer. That's probably cringe to a lot of people. Yeah, no, I don't watch soccer or football. I used to be very into football when I was younger, but not so much these days. Don't watch a lot of TV these days. I do watch some hockey though. Some of my childhood team, the Vancouver Canucks, were in the playoffs. I watched that. All right, let's see what happens with this move. We're gonna get a reversal, or we're just gonna respect this inefficiency. How old am I? I'm 25 years old. 25. Yep, baby face to fees. People, like, when I go out, I get like ID'd and they're like, you do not look 25, and I'm like, that's a compliment because when I'm 30, I'm gonna look 20. Messi or Ronaldo? Ooh, it's gotta be Messi because I grew up watching like Barca. Barca was like when I was a kid, like 2013, 2014. Barca was just ridiculous. The run they went on, they won like they trifected the Spanish league. Yeah. Alright, so we're just consolidating here, really. The nice thing is that if ES wants to reach into this inefficiency, let's see if it did. Oh, it did reach into that 50-minute gap. That might be why we're moving higher. We'll see. Yeah, it could be a reversal here on the NASPAC. I'm still watching this 50-minute candle close. I want to see. Let's see if this Sibi does anything for us. Messi, yeah. Did you spend... yeah, while I was working, I was studying a lot of ICT, yeah. Like 12 hours a day. I was in love with the tiki-taka, yeah. that style of football was so awesome to watch, man. Like the Xavi Alonso, Iniesta era as well, like midfield. That was awesome. What's your biggest payout? I don't know if I want to answer that. I've taken a max payout before. I'll say that. Yeah, I try and keep most of my finances pretty private. But I have shared that like my payouts before and stuff like that. But yeah, that's not the important thing, right? Payouts are just a function of your capital scale, right? What's important is the skill. The money will come. Okay, let's see if we can close through here. It's highly likely we'll attack these highs. Let's see what price wants to do here. It's interesting because we left that failure swing in the market. 15-minute candle is going to close in 5 minutes. I want to see if it can close below this order block. It's a very interesting spot right now for the NASDAQ because we got strength on the other indices, right? This is a pretty choppy delivery though. On balance, like on the whole day, it's pretty choppy. This is like gross delivery. High resistance, you could say. That's the best way to say it, actually, is high resistance. Let's see. If we want to reach up into that eye. Yeah. I think there's a lot of value in premium. If you do join and you in the future there might be a discount code or something. I don't know. Like you kind of want to attract the right people too, right? You want to attract people who are there to like learn. So like there's a lot of value in just the education, truly, I believe. So I definitely price it like fair. Like compared to what's on the market, I'm like live streaming pretty much every day. I have like hundreds of hours of lectures in there, so I do want to price it fair, yeah. Just because I believe in what I do. Like I truly believe in like the service I provide, or else I wouldn't do it, right? So yeah, it's my philosophy. Let's see if we get offered support here. This is not really tradable in my opinion, but we'll see. Harvey, I use Apex, and I also use MFFU, and I also have a personal account. I use prop firms and personal. Okay, I'm gonna see if we deliver into this high or reject, and I'm gonna hop off because I need to get going soon. Let's see if we want to run this high in this SIBI or we want to reject it. Yeah, I use Day by Josh Yu for like True Week and True Day. It's called Day by Josh Yu. This one right here. I just use for True Week because True Day I use the OHLC stat map. Yeah, you do need to fill out the W8BN. Yep. Yeah, if you want to message me after, I could talk to you kind of about like I have like a tax lawyer and stuff who's like very good and walked me through all that stuff, so I can share some information on that. Okay, guys, I have to actually send off my lease payment and my credit report, so I'm gonna hop off. Like the stream if you want me to do it again, and if I get enough likes, if I get like 200-300 likes, I'll do another stream next week. Okay. I gotta do this before my landlord gets mad at me. Okay, take it easy, everyone.